What's happening, people? Scarfy Spurs here, back with another one of these weekly live shows, if you like, every Monday, 8 p.m. Today, I'm joined by three fabulous guests, and I've got two of them with me now. One is joining later in Jude. So firstly, how are you doing, mate?
Oh, very good, Harry. Thank you very much. Real nice to be here for the first time on your
Your
show. I know
debut?
you've been on my show a few times, but it's an absolute pleasure to finally be here. I was kind of hoping it would be under different circumstances, given the recent results,
So
but
was I.
we'll do our best to get through it, mate.
Absolutely, I'm sure we'll do our best. As I like to say, the perfect therapy for fans on a Monday morning who still haven't got over the result. But no, pleasure to have you on. Elias, how you doing? Also your debut on the channel. So how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. First of all, thanks for having me, Harry. I think I had you like twice on my show as well, so it's good to have to be on
Yeah,
your show this time and share with it. I think I'm doing well. Just it's Tuesday morning here in Malaysia. So I'm gonna go to work
right.
after one other podcast that I'll be doing later. So under obviously the circumstances that I've not hoped for. Bournemouth game was not the kind of game that I hope that we'll lose points at, and I guess that's a major blow to our chances of getting the
Yeah.
top four at the moment. So yeah, feeling a bit, but I guess we are kind of used to it right now as Spurs fans.
Absolutely, no, it's a pleasure to have you on as well. And as I said, hopefully, fingers crossed, Jude will be on later, but there is no Gareth. Before we get started, I'm going to read out a quick sponsorship message as usual. So partnership message for our new partners, Security VPN. Security VPN is the premier choice for secure and private internet browsing. With the rise of online surveillance, it has become more important than ever to protect your online identity and data. Their VPN service ensures that you can surf the internet without having to worry about prices. At Security VPN, they're committed to providing you with the highest level of security and privacy. Their VPN service is designed to protect your online activities from hackers, cybercriminals, and government surveillance. With their VPN, you can browse the internet, access your favorite websites, and stream your favorite shows without any restrictions. And use the code SCARFY at checkout to get 25% off your first month. And I've been told that lasts, I think, forever. So there you go. Absolutely perfect. So let's crack into it. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you like it. That is much appreciated, and we're so close to 500 subs, so appreciate that. Any support is welcomed, and the support's been incredible, so thank you. Now joining us is Jude. So Jude, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for
Okay, Jude.
having me on. Thank you for having me on
Hi,
again,
Jude.
Harry. Hello, guys. But yeah, thank you for having me on. I'm good. You?
Yeah, no, very good, thank you. So yeah, let's crack into it, shall we? The game, as I said, the perfect therapy for fans. If anyone is listening, so firstly, I'm going to come to you first. I want to know, thinking before the game, I want to know your thoughts on the team news when it was announced. Unchanged once again, the same lineup. What 2 games in a row under Stellini? Perhaps he's trying to get that bit of consistency. So I want to know your thoughts on the lineup. Because some fans called Danjuma to start, some fans wanted to see Richarlison to start, some wanted to see a change of formation. But actually, I don't know your thoughts on the team news so far away.
Yeah, I think it wasn't a surprise, to be honest with you. When the team news come out, we saw the same lineup as the one that played against Brighton. Has everyone got their volume up? I can hear some feedback.
I think it's Jude.
Yeah, it might be me. Sorry.
That's all right, mate.
No worries.
No worries. Yeah, it wasn't really a surprise given the fact that obviously Son scored, along with Harry as well. We scraped to that victory against Brighton, against a very good Brighton side. So it wasn't really a surprise when we fielded the same team out. Richarlison's only coming back from injury. If anything, it was a bit surprising that Kulusevski was still selected for this week because his form of late hasn't been that great. I would have thought maybe Richarlison or someone else would have come in to take his place, and really didn't have a great game against Bournemouth on the weekend. But look, this is typical Spurs, isn't it? We all thought Brighton was a hard game, but we all thought they were going to get the result. against us, and we get a result against Bournemouth. And as it happens, it's gone the other way around. So no, very limited in options in defence. We've got either Sanchez or Tanganga who can come in. Neither of those two are going to start for us, and let's be honest, Sanchez isn't going to start again, given what's happened against Bournemouth. So, as I said, we're very limited options-wise. Midfield, again, Sarr is the only other option. So we have to go with the same squad week in, week out, and we have to put our trust into them.
Thank you, Has. Elias, do you agree? Thoughts on the team news?
Well, when I saw the team news, I wasn't surprised at all, because I think in my opinion, I think that's the best that we can put up, given the options that are available with the injuries that we have had recently and all that's going on. I wasn't surprised at all. Like lately, I think that's the team news doesn't really surprise me, because unlike some other teams, we don't really have a great squad depth to change things around, to shift things around. And I've been pretty much adamant on that yes, when you start a formation, when you start a team, you must play your best starting 11. And I think that is the best starting 11 at the moment. But I kind of agree with where Has is coming from. Like lately, Kulusevski's form has been pretty off. He has not been doing that well lately. So it was kind of like in the back of my mind, like maybe Stellini might start Danjuma over Kulusevski, or maybe Richarlison might come in, because last time when he played Richarlison, it wasn't a bad game either. Like, but I really don't know what are the fitness levels of Richarlison like. And when I saw the game, I think we were doing well overall in the game until Sanchez came on. In my opinion, like that was the point. I said, okay, guys, we are going to concede a goal. We may bottle this game. And exactly that's what happened. Like he came on, things got pretty bad actually. Then when we changed to a back four, it didn't help either. I think that really looked like, in my opinion, that looked pretty disorganized. We were not ready for that sort of a formation. When you don't really have a proper fullback, I think you can't really play back four. So that was pretty evident as well in the last 30 minutes, and we looked pretty shaky, pretty nervous as well. Like we were all over the place, in my opinion. So 3-2 loss. It was, I think, expected from the half of the game, and I must say that it's pretty much the mentality that this team has, as pointed out by the managers. And in my opinion, that mentality has to go, because I agree with you that I think from now, Danjuma has sort of earned a start, but let's see how he does against the better oppositions. Like Bournemouth is not a good opposition. It's still a lower table team. Let's see how he does against the likes of Newcastle, against the likes of Liverpool, Man United. It will be interesting to see if he steps up there. I think why not? Why not give him a start? Like I'm not a strong critic of Danjuma. I just feel that he's not that he doesn't have it in his profile at the moment to be a starting 11 over Kulusevski, Kane, and Son. But in future, if he does well, why not?
Okay, thank you. I like that. Jude, we'll come to you now. Thank you for coming on. I want to know, as I said, ask both Has and Elias. I want to know your thoughts. The hour before when the team news was announced, it's the same team. Disappointed. Did you expect it? I want to know your instant reaction to the team news.
Well, I agree with both of what you two said. I wasn't really surprised with it because we haven't really got any depth to change, as both of you said as well. Only really got Danjuma or Richarlison instead of the two wingers, and only one really in the midfield. So I wasn't surprised at all, and I think Stellini is just trying to play the way Conte played until the end of the season, because he's obviously not going to be there next year. I think he's just trying to keep the familiarity with the players, with knowing what they're doing, and obviously we know that he's not a proper manager, he's an assistant coach, you know what I mean? So I don't think that, I'm not going to say he's not like knowledgeable enough, but I don't think that he will be able to changed the system, which has been being drilled into him all season and all of last season as well, within the space of however long he's been the manager, the league manager for. But yeah, I don't think it was a surprise.
Okay.
But
Well,
when
thank
now that
you.
Longley's injured,
Yeah, long leg coming off injured, that is a problem. We will get onto the Sanchez booing as well, because that's obviously a big topic. Elias, I'm going to come to you for the next question I've got for you. I want to know your thoughts on. So it's interesting that Jude mentioned Stellini there. I want to know, for you, do you think Stellini, should stay in charge to the end of the season? Can you see why it was done, and do you think it was a bit of a missed opportunity for Stellini to tweak things, to have put his stamp his authority, if you like, and perhaps start his own manager career? So yeah, a few questions in there for you about Stellini, but the main thing is, do you think do you want and do you think he will see out the rest of the season?
I think it really depends on a lot of factors, that whether Stellini would stay till the end of the season, given his upcoming performances as well, given the managers that want to come in, given the managerial profiles that we are looking at, whether they fit in with what Daniel Levy wants. Um, in my opinion, I think Daniel Levy would try to do something that kind of appease the fans, get them excited again, deflect the blame from him again. Like, because right now we are hearing that Levy out chants are going up and it's getting kind of stronger. He would try to shut down that fire first, extinguish that fire. And in my opinion, I think he would try his best to get someone like Poch, or a big profile manager, to just get that down, if he has not changed his stance on it. However, if he gets Poch, it would look like that, yes, he is correcting his mistake. He's accepting the mistake that he made, and that's something that we all know that Daniel Levy rarely does. So he won't do that. And if he gets some other manager as well, it would be that manager has to be willing to come to us as well, whether it's Arne Slot or whoever. uh, in my opinion, at the moment, Daniel Levy has realized that the odds of finishing in top four, whether with Stellini or whether with a new manager, are almost like 50-50. So, in order to save money, in order to save his revenue, which is something that we all know that Daniel Levy really cares about, it's all about money for him. He would wait until the end of the season to hire a new manager. Unless things go like really bad in the club, like fans really turn up against Daniel Levy, things are getting really bad. We are doing like really bad, but I don't think we are in that bad state at the moment. At this point, there are still chances that yes, we can make top four. So he would try and get Stellini, because we don't know who he will hire, whether it's Vincent Company or any other manager. We don't know that whether those managers can play with the current set of players that we have, whether these players can fit into their system as well. We don't know yet. So I don't think Daniel Levy would take that risk in the middle of the season with a manager who plays especially a different system, like you asked me that question. And I guess that answer your other question as well, like, why Stellini is unable to play something different, a different system. We don't have the set of players to play that at the moment. We
We should
are
play. But
pretty much built around
Elias,
the
do
three
you
four
think
three.
these players, the big salaries they're on, do you think they should be able to adapt play out of position? Where do you stand on that? Should something be tried?
Something okay. So in a way, we actually did try it in the last game against Bournemouth. You could see that 4-2-3-1 was tried, and I guess in my opinion, that experiment didn't work. I know that some fans would say that, okay, why can't we go into a game with like four at the back, or why can't we start with that? And I would say that back to that person again, that when you start a game, you start with your best possible odds of winning, which is, I think, in a way, our team is very much built around the 3-4-3 system. And that's the best Stellini can start right now. If let's say you have Emerson Royal and Sessegnon fit, or let's say one or two more midfielders fit in, then maybe I would say, okay, let's try 4-3-3. Like, let's just say you have Bentancur there. You can play Hoiberg, Bentancur, and Skip. You had, let's just say, Emerson Royal, Ryan Sessegnon, or let's just say even if you have someone like Regulon, I would say, okay, maybe let's try 4-3-3. It might work. But currently, like, let's if you look at the players, Your centre backs are not good. Except Romero, nobody is good. On the other hand, you have Pedro Porro, who I don't think has played very much of a right back. He has been a right wing back or a right winger. You have Perisic, who used to be a winger converted into a left wing back. So, and midfield, you only have like Sar, Skip, and Hoiberg available. You don't have anybody else available on top of that. So if one of them drops out, how do you play 4-3-3 even? And forward line, maybe you have much more options there. You can try something in there, but it just doesn't seem a good odd to play or something to risk at. And that's why I feel managers are not risking that at the moment, because it's a very big risk to take when you start with that sort of a starting 11. You're playing more midfielders as well, so then you can't make a sub in the middle of the game. Forward line, you have a bit of like more like a 3, so it's risky in my opinion. The risks are high at this stage, so that's why you can't start with that. You can change things in the middle of the game. Yeah,
Okay.
I guess that
Interesting.
helps answer your question.
Yeah, thank you, Elias. That's interesting. That's certainly got me thinking. Let me know, guys, in the chat. Do you agree with Elias? Where do you stand on the whole formation thing? Should the players be able to adapt? Can the formation change? As I'm going to basically ask you the same question. Let's keep it simple. Do you want Stellini to see out the end of the season, and do you think he will? I mean, I personally think it's likely he will, but is there a possibility that perhaps he won't see out the season? Because top 4 clearly means a lot, to Daniel Levy for different reasons, mainly that Champions League money. It looks good as well, the club, the business side of things. But if he thinks Stellini, this isn't going to get top 4, which it isn't looking likely, will he make an unexpected decision?
Yeah, I mean, look, firstly, I just wanted to say about Poch, and I do agree with Wes Stitt. If Poch was to come back, or if he was interested in Poch in any way, shape or form, he would have come back by now, because he knows 60-70% of this team. He already knows, and he's very familiar with them already. So the fact that that hasn't happened, I think that boat sailed, and I don't think that's going to happen.
I think that's Levy not admitting. Personally, I think that's Levy sitting here thinking, "Oh, the fans want Ponch back. That would be the answer, but I can't do that because that doesn't look good. That looks like we've wasted the last 4 years. I simply can't do that. That doesn't look good for me as a businessman, as a chairman. My reputation, profile. I cannot do that." That's the way I think he's looking at it.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I mean, there's a number of factors, but yeah, in terms of Stellini, I just think he's in charge for the duration now, I think, because personally, I think Conte, he's on gardening leave. I think part of the deal would have been to, get Stellini in until the end of the season, and that way it's more cost effective rather than, paying Conte and his staff a huge payout for terminating their contract. The other option was to keep Stellini there until the end of the season whilst Conte's on gardening leave. So, yeah, he's going to be there for the foreseeable. No point in getting anyone in now with 7 games left to go. It's just ridiculous. So, I think we're going to stick it out with him until the end of the season. In terms of formations and everything else, I think now that we've got injuries, we've got, key players out here and there, I think it's going to force probably our hand a little bit into trying something different. Will he go over back 4 this weekend against Newcastle? I doubt it, because, away at Newcastle, they're going to want to get a result. Shout out to Liam K1998. Yep, absolutely agree. We're not looking forward to Sunday, mate. Not against Newcastle, but they're going to want to put 3 in the midfield for sure. And look, if it was me, I would probably put Sarr as an extra midfielder in there just to stifle them a bit, because I think with the 2 that we have at the moment in Højbjerg and Skip, I think they're going to be a bit vulnerable against Newcastle, and they're going to want to get a result against us, because that would effectively rule us out of any hopes of top 4. So, yeah, I would definitely go with 3 in the middle. Whether he goes for a 4-3-3 or anything else, I don't know. I just don't think Porro is that sort of player to sort of play right back. He's more attacking. He's got more attacking intent than a defensive one. So it's going to be quite telling there, on Sunday against Porro, because one thing I noticed in the game against Bournemouth, I mean, Vinya had an almighty battle with Porro, and he got the better of him most of the time. But it's going to be an interesting one, to be honest. I just, who comes in as the third centre back? That's the question. I mean, Sanchez.
Yeah.
He's he come in, got booed and got taken off again. Now, does he go with him again? Does he risk him being booed and taken off again?
I've got a feeling he will go with him.
We've got Tanganga on the bench, no doubt. During training, they will have extra time to put Tanganga in there instead, possibly giving him more time on the training pitch to get accustomed to that system. Free at the back, possibly to play him. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays on Sunday, if I'm being honest with you, in a back five again, or a back three, sorry. So, yeah, I mean, look, injuries and everything else has kind of forced our hand, but you really can't say we tried a 4 at the back against Bournemouth and it failed because the pressure was on us. We had to get the goal. It's not like we could start in that formation and then settle into it. We sort of had to go for it with 5 attackers on the pitch. So as much as, we reverted to a back 4, it wasn't very rigid. That formation was all over the place because, we had Kulusevski, we had Danjuma, we had Richarlison, Kane, Son, all on the pitch. So effectively playing a 4-1-4, or 4-1-5, sorry, with 4 at the back, 1 in the midfield and 5 up top. It's just ridiculous. But look, we'll see on Sunday. It's not going to be an easy game. They're going to want to put us to the sword and just really put it to bed now, because I think another defeat and that's us out of it. United, you'd have to say that third spot is pretty much nailed on. Yeah. And then we've got a battle on our hands with Villa as well, who, to be honest, they're the most informed team with Manchester City at the moment. And yeah, they might even leapfrog us. So we could finish anywhere between 5th and 8th this season, Harry. But will it make any difference to our season? No, we've had quite a poor season. And had it not been for everyone else's poor form, Chelsea, Liverpool, and the likes, we could have been lower this season, if I'm being honest with you.
Agree.
Fair enough. Thank you. Jude, Stellini, do you think you see out the season? That seems like the obvious and most common. That seems like the most likely.
I mean, like Has said, I think it would be stupid for Levy to have to pay out, to compensate Stellini and Conte, because I don't think he'll do that, because obviously it's just a waste of, you have to pay money and then you've got to get somebody else in at the end of the season, and then you've got to. So I don't think I think he'll stay at the end of the season, but he won't stay next year. And I think I agree with what Wes said as well. Like if Levy wanted Poch back, it would have already happened, or there would be quite big, rumours from the likes of, like Chris Cowlin or Alistair Gold or something like that, because they would know. But I just think it won't. Whoever we get, it won't be confirmed or won't be even really, announced until way into the postseason. And as I said, I think Stellini will stay into the season, because it's just not logical for Daniel Levy to sack him now.
Yeah, agree with you. Thank you, all of you. But Jude, coming back to you. Before I think we kind of move on from the game, I want to know, how big, how missed opportunity was that, in your opinion, because you had Newcastle, you got turned over in the end by Villa. That was an opportunity for us to go into top 4. I mean, it wouldn't be the case now because United won, but we could have gone at the time joint third. I mean, it's a confidence boost. We may have played the game more, but it looked good. We're certainly in that. But to go away with nothing in a game that you should and have to be winning. I mean, how big of a missed opportunity is it, for you? Is it huge, or is it just a little?
No, I think it's a huge blow because Bournemouth are one of the teams that are fighting relegation and are struggling to score, and we want to consider ourselves as a big club and with good players. And if we're conceding 3 goals to a Bournemouth side that are struggling to score goals, it's just an absolute confidence
Good
crasher
point.
for the entire team. And I think that going into to Sunday, I think that they're going to be playing with zero confidence, and it's going to be like after New Year when we lost to Villa at home. It was almost like they were just playing for their wage and then going home.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's going to be like again now because we barely scraped the Brighton win. That in my opinion, we absolutely robbed them. I don't think that the McAllister handball was handball, but I'm not going to get into that. But that wasn't our greatest performance. And then we go and play against a really struggling Bournemouth side and lose and come away with nothing. I think that it's really really damaging for the team's confidence and their ego, and it's just they're not going to be exciting or wanting to play on Sunday. And I think we're going to get overturned quite heavily.
Okay, thank you, Jude.
It's
We'll
an
certainly
interesting
get on to
question. It's an
Sunday.
interesting question, Harry. If we lost against Brighton, because everyone thought Brighton could have turned us over, because they're playing really well, they're turning teams over in the top 6.
Yeah.
If they'd have beaten us and then we ended up beating Bournemouth, as some predicted, would we have been as disheartened as we are now?
I don't think so.
Or is it purely the fact that the circumstances as it stands is what's annoying people because we've beaten Brighton and we couldn't go on to get an extra few points against Bournemouth?
Yeah, I think it's more of the fact that against Brighton that is definitely the harder game, and fans didn't expect to lose, of course, but a draw. Some fans would have taken that, for example, against a very informed, high flying Brighton side under De Zerbi in a short space of time. In fact, this season it's Bournemouth that although they come into a decent bit of form, they're fighting for their lives down the bottom. The small club at home. I mean, at home against Bournemouth, if you look at all our games, before that is probably the easiest we've got until the end of the season. It's easier than Palace, who are doing well under Roy Hodgson. New manager bounce. It's the London derby. So no game is easy, of course, but that was the easiest one. So that's the way I personally look at it. But no, it's definitely a very, very interesting question. But Elias, coming to you on this might go on a little bit longer than I planned to because it is certainly a big topic.
No worries.
But Sanchez being booed, I want to know where you stand with it. Some fans are going, we don't boo a player, that's completely wrong. The kind of, I was on a podcast earlier, they say like fans, they support the players, the hints in the name. I want to know, or do you find it acceptable to boo a player if they're not turning up? Was that frustration from fans? Is it aimed at the wrong person? So I want to know your thoughts on where you stand with that, because everyone who spoke to has a slightly different opinion on it.
I think boos are all right, in my opinion. It at least gives fans an expression to express themselves in unity. Like, we are not happy with a particular player, we are not happy with particularly something that's happening at the club, or we are just generally unhappy with that. In that Sanchez situation, I think that he sort of deserved it. But what I didn't like about it was the way it was followed up, the way I think the abuse went on to his social media, the way it went out on the other platforms as well. Although I do agree that yes, Sanchez had a really bad performance. Like, I'd like to ask these fans, like, you can boo a player, why can't you guys boo Daniel Levy first of all?
Yeah.
Why not aim the boos at Daniel Levy rather than always booing the players? Like, let's just say once in a while, if it happens to a player, it's fine, but it always happens to players. Why it always happens to players? Although Sanchez has been awful,
yeah,
why not boo Daniel Levy? Like, Why
agree,
can't we do that?
and I want to chip in on that because you mentioned Daniel Levy. So, do you think that's kind of anger that the fans are being out? Is it being like redirected directed at the wrong person? Like you say, I think there's been anger building up. Some will say that Sanchez is a scapegoat. Some will say he's been loyal, to the club, and he didn't deserve this. Where some will say, for example, Laxton and Ndombele deserved to be booed because after that Morecambe game, it was clear he didn't put the effort in. Fans say there's a difference. So for you, is it being aimed at the wrong person? Because Sanchez's performance wasn't great, but I don't know about you, but I think it's personally just fans' anger at the moment, and it was put towards the wrong person. I think Sanchez is not necessarily him, but he the way he kind of represents the club is a problem in terms of he should have gone a long time ago. His mistake, not good enough, not renewing. So I want to know, Elias, your thoughts on that. Redirected at the wrong person for you, or is it?
I think
purely
definitely
based on performances?
directed at the wrong person. I don't deny that. Because yes, again, the problem is Daniel Levy. If we all don't know, I think Sanchez was one of our record signings at one point. Like, I think he was the most expensive defender or center back we ever bought, and since then it has not worked out for us. So whose fault is it? Is it Sanchez's fault, or is it Daniel Levy's fault on a bigger level? It's
What do you
definitely
think?
Daniel Levy's fault.
Yeah.
And it is Daniel Levy's fault. Like, it has not worked out. So I think what in a way, I think fans are maybe trying to tell Daniel Levy as well that, see, that's the player that was your record signing. It has not worked out for us. They are trying to express their displeasure over these things. But my question back to them is, again, why can't we direct that anger towards Daniel Levy himself? I guess the answer is a difficult one, because Daniel Levy doesn't come on as a sub. But you can chant, you can actually sing those songs, you can say Levy out. Why can't we do that? Like, the other thing that I don't like is, like, why are we singing that Mauricio Pochettino song? Like, this just doesn't make sense to me. But it's definitely, I think, the frustration that fans are trying to express, but it's definitely being expressed on the wrong person. Although it's okay, I think Sanchez has been awful for us, but there are other people who deserve those boos more than him.
Okay, thank you. Has your thoughts on it? Do you agree with what Elias has kind of said? I haven't actually spoke to you about this, so I want to know, your thoughts on this. Do you feel for Sanchez? As a human being, being booed, and he must be thinking, I've been loyal to the club, I've stayed a long while. You've got others like Dyer or like Richarlison, who's had a stinker of a season and isn't being booed. And then going and getting the abuse he did from social media. So yeah, do you feel for him? Do you agree with it? Do you have sympathy for the fans? Can you understand why they've done it? Go for it.
I think it's a mixture of things, really. First of all, I don't agree with the booing towards Sanchez, but I do get the fans are frustrated. Frustrated at the players, frustrated at the club, frustrated at the board. Just so you're aware, Liverpool's just gone 1-0 ahead as well.
There you go, that doesn't help us. Thank you for
It
that.
doesn't. But, the build up to the play was a handball and it wasn't given as well. So there you go. But it's a mixture of things, to be honest. But I don't agree with any player being booed. At the end of the day, you've got to look at it from this point of view, right? Sanchez was one of our top signings at 42 million. He came in as our record signing. It's not his fault that he got picked to come onto the pitch. He's been paid to, be at the club, on the bench at the moment. And if he's asked to go on the pitch, he's going to go on the pitch. He can't, just the same way we used to, take the mick out of Emerson Royale, how crap he was, this, that, and the other. Eventually he fixed himself up somewhat, and people were on side again. Even he got booed earlier in the season as well. I don't think it has a place, to do that. I do think that the person at the top, Mr. Levy, is probably one to blame, if anything, because, you've got to cut your losses sometimes. I know he cost 42 million. I know it was a record signing. It's a lot of money for a defender, but just hasn't worked out. You know, sell the guy. You should have sold him 3 seasons ago. But instead, you've kept him there. You've kept him there. We've got no other options on the bench. And we've had to put him on because Longley went off injured. And, you know, effectively, they've thrown him to the wolves. You know, it was lamb to the slaughter. And I just thought it was a bit unfair, you know, that had to happen. But yeah, look, I don't think Sanchez should play for us after this season. I think he should be either loaned out or sold if possible. It's just not a good fit. Sometimes you go to a club and it's just not a good fit. Now, he could go anywhere else in the world, okay, and he might be a good defender again. He might even go back to Ajax and he might be a top defender again, but it's just not worked out at Tottenham.
Yeah.
Booing the player will not help in any way, shape, or form. It won't help that player to play better on the pitch. If anything, it'll make him more nervous and put him under more intense pressure in those sort of one-on-one situations. Liverpool 2-0 up now, by the way. Salah scored.
Okay, 2-0. Not looking good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't agree with the booing. I do think Levy should have cut his losses a while back and should have sold him. And shouldn't have put him in that position or in that situation where he has to come on, and he has to come on in a situation where he's in a pressure cooker. I think it's not fair. So, yeah, a lot of the blame should lie with Levy. And a lot of people are going to say, why are we blaming Levy again? Why are we blaming Levy again? Well, yeah, because the buck stops with him. You know, at the end of the day, if you own a company and something goes wrong, no matter what happens, the buck stops with you. You're the boss, you know. So, yeah, I think going forward, I think the booing of players won't help, but I think more of that needs to, more of that frustration and anger should be aimed towards the chairman and, you know, fans, pitch side should make that known and putting energy and effort into, you know, directing that anger towards Levy rather than players at the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, Hass. No, I agree with a lot of what you said. Just quickly, Elias, I know you've got to go, but thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Harry.
It's been a
Really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
It definitely won't be the last time. Yeah, if you're willing to come on, you know you're always welcome. Same with anyone who comes on. So, Elias, where can people find you if they don't know on social media?
Yep, if you don't know me, get to know. You can find me on Step Up Spurs on Twitter and Instagram, as well as on YouTube. So you can just go to Step Up Spurs, just type it on there. You'll see my face in one of the videos, and yeah, you can hit us up there. And I usually do midweek shows, one pre-match and one post-match on Sunday nights. Usually, the Sunday night show I'm trying to like make it a regular thing with a few guests on, but yeah, it's still in the pipeline. Yeah. But thank you so much, Harry, for having me.
Make sure you go and subscribe to Elias's channel. Honestly, his channel is growing. He's getting some fantastic guests on there. I have been on his channel as well before, but he's doing some good things. So make sure you go over there and subscribe to him. He's doing a great job.
Thanks, Has. Really appreciate it.
No worries.
Yeah, go do that. Go check out his channel. All the best, guys. Take care.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come you Spurs. Thank you for coming on. All the best. Right. So, Jude, nice to have you back. So, thoughts on Sanchez's booing? I want to know your thoughts on this. Go ahead.
I think when it first happened, I was, in the middle of it because he hasn't obviously been at the level that he should be for a while. But now I've thought about it a bit more. I'm very much against it because, as Has said, it's just going to knock his confidence even more, and it's not going to. Like, he left the pitch in tears. Like, no, you don't want to see any player leave the pitch in tears for your team, like, or for any team really. But it wasn't. It was the way that he alone being bought on as a sub and then being bought off is damaging enough. But when your own fans, and a lot of them were as well, a lot of them were booing him. When your own fans are booing you, I think it's going to damage him a lot. And I think that, as Has said as well, we know that he's not good enough for a while now, and I don't know why we haven't cashed in on him, got some money back, and maybe invested in another backup centre back, which slightly better, could be better.
And that's on Levy, really. It's not Sanchez's fault. So I think that's where the anger's being misdirected, personally.
Yeah, and as I said as well, the blame should be going on the owners and the chairman, not singular players. Like Ndombele got booed off, and everybody had an uproar about that. But it's not. I mean that one was his fault because he didn't, he wasn't bothered. But it's
you can
our
see after that
recruitment as
Morecambe
well.
game. Yeah, fans say it's different because he didn't put the effort in. He showed that, that FA Cup tie against Morecambe. Yeah, definitely.
I think there's a difference there, though, because Sanchez, obviously, he has his limitations where he plays. Whereas in Ndombele, he has got the skill and the quality, but it's just his attitude at the time which led to the booze. Which I can understand. That I can understand, because if a player is, disrespecting the club and, being so nonchalant about it, then I can understand the booze. But when a player has his limitations and he's trying, that for me is a bit, it's wrong.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, so thank you both for that. Moving on, I want to know. So, before we move on, I want to know your thoughts on Porro, because lots of people, have been talking about it. And if you watch the highlights back, he's partly, how big it is, but partly at fault for, I think, all three of their goals. So I want to know, because lots of fans are, saying he's never going to be good enough. Lots of fans are quick to jump to conclusions, as you know, at the best of times. So Has, I want to come to you. Does he need time, to adapt to the speed, physicality of the English game? What do you make of his performance? Is it as bad as some people making out?
First of all, you might remember we used to have a quite decent footballer called Gareth Bale. Okay,
yeah,
it was quite decent. It was all right, wasn't he?
Certainly was.
Fast forward now, he's got about, I don't know how many trophies he's got, but he's one of the best players to have played, certainly for us, for Real Madrid, for Wales. And did you know, when he first started for us, we weren't winning any games whatsoever. He just wasn't performing to the level that we expected him to perform. We was losing week in, week out. But you know what? We stuck with it. And eventually he found his feet, and we found a position for him as well. And he just started performing. Sometimes you just have to give players a little bit of time, especially players coming from abroad as well. He's come from Southampton, Gareth Bale at the time, not even abroad. But Porro's come from, he's come from the Portuguese league. First game wasn't that great. Didn't cover himself in glory, but, that is to be expected. First game, there's a bit of nerves, bit of pressure. And then he had good couple of games, He got that absolutely amazing goal. I can't remember who it was against now, but I know he scored a fantastic goal. And he pushed on from there. It was all going really well. But, when you come into a team that have sort of been in freefall, it's not easy. If you go into a team that is successful, they're doing well, it's a well-oiled machine, the player is probably going to do better himself. He's going to come into a good atmosphere, a good environment where everyone's, happy. They're all working in tandem. But he's come to Spurs where, we're in a bit of turmoil at the moment. There's players shot of confidence. There's the managerial situation, people getting sacked left, right, and centre, and he's having to play through all that. So for everyone coming out at the moment and saying he's not going to be good, he's not good at all, it's his fault for this, his fault for that. Well, look, first of all, Sanchez passed the ball to him when he had 3 players on him. It didn't even give him time or space to clear the ball or anything. He lost possession. It happens. It happens in football. Okay, made a mistake, but ultimately it started from Sanchez. Perhaps he should have looked up. Oh, I can't pass to him. He's got 2-3 players around him. I better just hoof it up. Just things like that. So look, I think we need to give Porro time. He's been here 2 minutes. Literally been here 2 minutes, right? And we need to give him time. You can't get on his back straight away. We can't expect to buy players and them to fit in like a glove straight away from the
He
off.
definitely needs time.
You know, he hasn't even had pre-season with us. You know, so look, whoever the new manager is going to be, you know, he'll have pre-season with them. They'll have a bit of time to work with him, and who knows? Next season he might be the best thing since sliced bread. You know, if Udogie comes in next year and he has a few bad games, you know, 2-3 games, are we going to get on his back as well?
Yeah,
Are we going to
I think our fans are very impatient.
You know, because he's doing really well at Udinese at the moment. In fact, he's doing very well, you know, so...
And so was Porro.
Porro was doing fantastically well as well. So, look, you need to give him time. You know, he's not a championship player. We haven't brought him from a lower league team. He's quality, he's class. So, as I said, he's coming to a team that's in a bit of a state at the moment, and that's to be expected. And that is the same thing with anything in life. You know, if you go into a job where everyone's, you know, moaning about the job or moaning about the people that they work for, and ultimately you get drawn into that as well. So, yeah, I think they need to give him time. I can understand fans are frustrated, but he needs time.
Absolutely. Jude, do you want to say something about Sanchez being booed?
Yeah. So I think a lot of, as we were saying, it should be the boo should be directed to the chairman. I think it should also be directed to our scouts and our, you know, people, our recruitment, because you look at players like Sanchez, like Ndombele, etc., and pay big money for them, and they haven't lived up to their expectation, and we've given them time. It's like Ndombele was there for like two years, right? And I think, and then Sanchez has been here for 4 or 5, and maybe more. And as I said, we paid big money for him, wasted money, and
40 million, wasn't he?
42 million.
42
yeah,
million.
and then Ndombele was 63 plus fees, I think. So I think it ended up to be about 70. But I think it's crazy how we can spend that sort of money on mediocre players at best. Gave them time and still haven't done anything. But we can't spend 5 million on Kim Min Jae when he was at wherever he was before we went to Napoli. And I just think
it was at Fenerbahce.
Yeah, that's it. That Fenerbahce. Yeah, like you see what Mourinho said about how he wanted to sign him and Levy would do it for 5 million, but
yeah,
I think it comes down to the board and our recruit, like the chairman and our recruitment as a whole. I just think it's the recruitment needs to seriously improve.
Okay,
yeah, we went and got Rodon, Jude. We went and got Rodon instead of Kim Min Jae because he was a few million cheaper than Kim Min Jae. But that's what happens, you know, when you try and penny pinch.
Yeah, I mean, Levy, if you're listening.
And also you were saying about Porro's goal. I'm pretty sure it was against Southampton.
Yeah.
Yes, it was from across. No, it was a looped ball over.
Through ball, I think.
And then he smashed it into the top corner. Close range,
yeah, that's it.
So, update with the Liverpool score. They're 2-0 up half-time against Leeds. That would put them, if they still manage to win, which looks likely at the moment, 6 points behind us, but we're having a game more to play, and they have to play us at Anfield. So they could go into that game knowing if they win, you know, they go above us. That's quite a scary thought, considering they've had such a bad season. But finally, to kind of recap the game before we go on to the questions that people put on Twitter for the podcast, yes or no answer. Did we deserve something out of that game against Bournemouth for you?
No, absolutely not.
Completely agree. Jude?
No.
And my answer is the same. Absolutely not. I mean, the stats, people would say, deserve something out of the game. But as I said, Bournemouth clearly wanted it more, clearly meant a lot to them. And if you're not going to give 110%, you know, then you don't deserve to win. And that's the reality. So time for questions that people
Can I just say, Harry,
on Twitter.
Harry, we were lucky at Bournemouth as well in the reverse fixture where we just, I think last minute, Bentancur scored the winner, which made it 3-2. It could have gone either way at their ground as well. So,
yeah,
you know, the form was not great when he was there as well.
It wasn't, and they got their revenge, and fair play
Yeah.
to them. I think they did deserve it overall. So firstly, the first question I'm going to give to you, Jude. Wes says, so Wes, if you're still in the chat, this is your question. We've had Poch, we've had Mourinho, and now we've had Conte becoming really fed up with the club. Where do we go from here?
The first step is for the club to be sold, but that's not going to happen while Daniel Levy is still alive. So I think where we go from here is we invest, but that's not going to happen either. I don't know, because Daniel Levy won't do anything to help the club. I would say sell the club, but he's not going to do that, because then that's not, it's not beneficial for him in terms of cash. But then he's not going to invest into the team and get better players, because that's not beneficial for him either. Because he won't, as we said earlier, he's a money man. He doesn't care about the team. He's a businessman, and the way that we need to go is to get rid of Deadwood, sell the players on, like Sanchez, like Ndombele, like get rid of players like that, like Lloris. He's not at his top form anymore. And then we need to sign young, good, exciting players, like when we had the chance to sign Kim and Jae, or in the summer we can go in for David Raya or anyone like that. But it's not going to happen, as I said, as Daniel Levy's alive, because he's too tight.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Has next question for you is very similar from Jacob. Where do you think we go now, manager-wise and player-wise?
So look, Harry, for me, the club should have identified by now who they want and put something in place. And the reason I say that, even if they're not going to take charge this season, they should get someone in place from now. And then that someone should analyse the squad, make note of who they want and who they don't want. So they got 8-9 games to assess the squad, make plans for next season, and then go to the chairman and say, look, this is how I want to set the team up. Going forward, this is the plan. If you can get rid of these players for me and replace them with these players, then we can try and make something of it for next season. So for me, the wheels should have already been in motion the moment they decided to get rid of Conte.
Yeah.
They could have given it a week or two, identified the manager that they want in principle, so that manager or that man can then have a look at the squad. Because, coming in pre-season, all the players are on holiday, okay? The holiday that they so deserve for an amazing season that they've had. But they're all on holiday, and he's going to come in and what's he got to assess? What's he got to look at? He can.
Well, not being funny, sorry to interrupt, but why are we waiting for the summer? If that someone hasn't been identified, I mean, what are we waiting for? Kind of standing around. I mean, manager's not going to come and approach us. I mean, you're going to, like with Poch, you've got to approach him and accept that mistake. So I don't get why we're waiting if you haven't identified who we want. That should be done, I think, even before we sack Conte. You don't sack a manager if you don't know what you want to do going forward. Surely.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, whoever comes in, the chairman needs to listen to them. The chairman needs to listen and just say, all right, if you need someone, I'll write the check. I'll leave it to you. You tell me what you want. And if we can't get the player that you want, tell me what the next best option is, and we'll go for that one. Not what we're trying to do now is we're trying to offer contracts to players whilst we haven't got a manager in place, or we're trying to put bids in for players whilst we haven't got a manager in place. It's ridiculous, and that just, to me, stinks of, the chairman just cutting deals, as he sees fit for the club, and then saying to the manager, there's your players, you deal with them, do what you've got to do with them. When we all know any top manager that's worth their salt will want players that suit their system, that can play in their image. I can go and take charge of a under 16s team, okay, and then I won't necessarily be able to get the best out of them because I might want to play a system that doesn't suit most of those players. And then I'll have to go out and look for more players that would suit my system. But this is a big problem that has been, it's blighted the club for a very long time.
I completely agree with you, Has.
It's it's made it more difficult for managers that come in, having to deal with a chairman that likes to sort of conduct his own business, in terms of players, and it's going to be a difficult one for whoever's going to come in now. My choice would be Kompany, but I totally get Kompany at the moment. He's about to take Burnley up, and I should assume and I should imagine that he would want to get that done and dusted before he commits to anything. Big up Westit. Thank you. Yeah. I should imagine Kompany would want to get the season done and dusted with Burnley, make sure that they're promoted before he commits to anything. At the moment, if he commits to Spurs, he won't come in now. But for me, Kompany, he ticks all the right boxes for me. He's a young manager. He's played under one of the best, if not the best manager in the world, in Pep Guardiola. He's seen how he manages that Manchester
Works well
team,
with younger players.
That team as well.
Yeah, he works well with younger players. Project there.
Exactly. He's won the league numerous times. He's won countless trophies.
It makes sense.
For me, that would be the person that I would go for.
Yeah.
But he would have to be given assurances, and he would have to be given free reign over that club to say, look, this is the style I want to implement. I know what I'm doing. I'll give you like Arteta as an example. He worked under Pep as well. Okay. And look what he's done over there with that lot, So these players have worked under Pep Guardiola before, and look at them now. A lot of people are saying, yeah, but he didn't do nothing at Anderlecht. But Anderlecht was his first job. He took over in his first managerial role, and it didn't come off, but he learned his trade there. And then he moved on to Burnley, who saw potential in him, and look what he's done. So, for me, it should be the number one choice. Why? Why shouldn't he be?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Jude, I'm going to give the next question to you, and I'll give the last one to you, Has. This is so it's from Ben. It's fairly similar, to be fair, on what we've been talking about once again, but just worded slightly differently. Can you get really excited over the next appointment, let's say in the summer, if it feels like there's going to be not much of a change? And do you think there will be a change? It's basically, how excited are you, and what difference will it make, Jude?
Well, the first things first. When Conte was appointed, I was extremely excited because I thought something would change. I thought that with Daniel Levy and the board, I thought something would change because we know that he's a ball winner, and we know that he has the passion and everything like that. But nothing really did, and I know he got backed one summer, I think it was summer, but nothing really. The way that he got backed, I don't think was the correct way. I think that more, recognised players should have been brought in instead of like players like Udoki for next year, and like let's just give him another. We're trying to win something, and we bring in players for the year after. I think he needed players then and there, and to like he needed players to help with the squad. But I'm not excited at all for a new manager, whoever it's going to be. I just think it's going to be the exact same thing. No change is going to happen. There's going to be one summer or one January where they get minorly backed, and then that'll be it. Conte will be like, sorry, not Conte, Levy will be like, that's it. We've spent the money that you want. Now go and do it. And if he hasn't got the right, assets to do it with, nothing will change. Like Conte, he got his players that he wanted, and it wasn't right, and then nothing changed. Levy was just let him do it, and I just think it's nothing's, as I said, nothing's going to be different. So I don't see why, anybody should be excited by a new manager.
Okay, thank you, Jude. Has the last question for you before we kind of talk about the Newcastle game before that's it for today. Ben, once again, thank you, Ben, for the questions. Does it matter who the next manager is if the board won't change their ways?
Yeah, I think, the answer's in the question there. With the chairman in place, they make it really hard to get excited about a new managerial appointment because, it's the constant meddling and, not giving them, free reign over doing as they want with the club. So that then means whoever comes in, the only thing that they can offer the club is their formation and system, and that's it's a shame, because you look at other clubs, you look at Klopp when he went to Liverpool, he had some really bad players at Liverpool. And the first thing he did after his first half a season or whatever it was, he said, right, I want a top centre back and I want a top goalkeeper because they're no good. So they went out and they got Virgil van Dijk and they went and got Alisson in goal. And the year after that, they won the league, or 2 years after that, they won the league.
Yeah.
And they won the Champions League as well. So, that there is a chairman that says, yep, no problem. There you go. And it was within their means because they sold Coutinho at the time, 120 million, I believe it was. And they reinvested that money into 2 absolutely world-class players at the time. Now, we don't do that. We get a huge sum of money and that money is cut up into portions to say, right, I'll buy you 3 or 4 players with that money, maybe 5, factoring in the contracts. Whereas, if you look at our team, Harry, where's the like-for-like replacements in our team? Are there like-for-like replacements in terms of quality? So what I mean is, do we have a like-for-like replacement for Harry Kane? No. Do we have a like-for-like replacement for Son? No. Do we have anyone that could replace Romero? No. So you look at all these other top clubs and they can call on other players to come in if they've got injuries or if someone's not playing well. We don't do that. We don't stock the club with quality. We stock the club with quantity. And that is the problem. I understand the club's got to run with certain limitations. We're not
They
a
always
Manchester
say, they always say quality over quantity. Perfect example of
Exactly.
why.
But my question to anyone in the chat or anyone who might be watching or anyone who watches afterwards, maybe, would you take? Would you take? Leeds have just scored 2-1 straight.
2-1 the back in it
from the kickoff. Yeah.
Well, perfect.
Absolutely fantastic. Really bad mistake from Konate. And I think Junior Firpo scored that goal. Brilliant.
I think the update has so that leaves us a chance of beating Liverpool, catching us up. And if they win this, it puts pressure on us again.
Yeah, the fact that they've Sinistera got the goal. I do apologise.
Sinistera, he's had a great season.
Yeah, he's a good player actually. My question would be: would you be willing to give it time, like 2-3 years, to bring all the players together and then have a project in place? Or would you want to see like instant success? Because for me at the moment, instant success isn't going to come without spending money, and we're not going to do that. But what I would be open for is if the club says, right, we are going to bring in 3 world-class or close to world-class players a season and maybe 1 or 2 squad players. And then by the 3rd season, we'll have a team full of like quality players, world-class, top manager in place to manage them. And then we'll go from there, because that's what I would do now. So you have to manage the expectations as well, because, we've had the expectations with Mourinho. We've had the expectations with Conte, because when they come in, we all instantly thought, we've got a top manager here. Surely he's going to be given top players now to win something.
No chance.
And then it was like, oh, okay, so we've got Rodon in. Okay, that's good. And then we've got all these, second-rate Jedson Fernandez is coming in. Oh, okay, that's good. So what's happened to Dybala and Bruno Fernandes and all those sort of players, So, yeah, we need to manage expectation. But my question is, would you be willing to give it time? Because I would. We need to have another direction. You know, we need to have another direction, and we need to have an open and clear plan of where we want to go, because that's
100%.
not happening at the moment.
No, thank you for that, Haz. I'm going to have two questions for you. I'm going to come back to you, Haz. Going to have two questions for you. One word or one number answer, should I say. The first one is, I want to know where you think we're going to finish come the end of the season. I just want a place first. Go for it now, Haz. Where do you think we're going to finish?
Yeah, I'm thinking, where are we going to finish? It could be anywhere from 5th to 8th. I genuinely think we'll finish 6th.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, thank you for that. And the next one is, so obviously our next 3 games are tough, aren't they? They've got Newcastle away, United at home, and Liverpool away, all in the space of just under 2 weeks. How many points are we getting from the next 3 games? You honestly think, if you had to be absolutely honest, for getting that result, with Tottenham, you know what we're like, realistically?
I'm inclined. I was going to say 0. I don't want to say 0 points, but okay, let me break it down real quick, because I know you want to get to Jude. Newcastle are going to want to be. They're going to want to absolutely put us to the sword on Sunday. I think we'll lose on Sunday. United, at the moment, they haven't really got a defence. They can be exposed, and I think Nottingham Forest could have had a few goals if they had a bit of quality up front. So I think we might nick a draw against United at home, and then Liverpool away. As you know, we never do well at Liverpool. So I think 2 defeats and a draw, and that's being realistic.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. No, I think that's absolutely fair. Jude, where do you think we're going to finish come the end of the season? Just give me a place.
I think we'll finish 6th.
Okay, so you both said 6th, and I agree with you. And the second one is our next 3 games, as you know, 2 weeks. Yeah, if you didn't hear that, Newcastle away, United at home, Liverpool away, all in the space of exactly 14 days, which is a lot. 3 tough games, but I don't have any sympathy for the players that, after the performances they're putting in, the lack of effort. So Jude, how many points are we getting?
What in
those next 3? Sorry.
So who have we got? You got
Newcastle away Sunday. You've got you've got United
3-1
at home Thursday, and then you've got Liverpool away the following weekend.
Okay.
Newcastle, United, Liverpool.
Well, I want to say I think we'll get 2 points. I think we'll lose against Newcastle, as said, they're going to get, they want to secure their top 4 spot. I think United, it'll be a draw on the basis that we have got a very shaky defence at the moment, and so have they. But we lack any threat up top, and they're missing Rashford, which is one of their big, catalysts. So I think that one will be a draw, and then I think Liverpool will be a draw as well, because Liverpool, as we know, Liverpool haven't been playing very well. I mean, they're winning now, but I think that it will be a quite edgy game. I think that Liverpool will come out, and I think we won't be able to sit back and then hopefully hit on the counter. But I think that I think we'll draw against them, but I don't think it'll be a good game. I think it'll just be boring.
Okay, thank you both. And to wrap this up, prediction for next Sunday, Newcastle. Jude, I'm going to come back to you. Give me your score prediction.
I think it'll be 3-0 to Newcastle. They'll want to bounce back from the Villa result. So, wow. and we're going to have either Sanchez or Tanganga playing at right centre back. I think they're both liabilities. So I don't think we'll have a very good time down our right side with Porro defending, because he's good going forward, but defending he's not so great. So I think they'll have a great time down our right side, and I think they'll win comfortably 3-0.
Okay, thank you, Haz.
3-1 to Newcastle. I think Kane might possibly get a goal. but I think they'll score 3 and there'll be a defeat for us.
Fair
No
enough.
ifs or buts about it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think we're losing the game. And go with 2-0. I think it's a game we're going to lose. I think they will turn us over. But that is it, for today's show. So thank you both for coming on. You've both been absolutely fantastic. Your debuts on the podcast, on the show, if you like. So firstly, thank you for coming on, mate. Definitely been wanting to get you on for a while. As you know, we had Marlon on last weekend, so I thought it would be only fair to get you on as well. I mean, on your channel enough. That's the very least I can do in return. So for people who don't know, where can they find you and your Marlon's channel on social media?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Thank you for having me on, Harry. It's an absolute pleasure to be on your channel, and absolute pleasure to have you on my channel as well. Just before I get started on plugging my channel, make sure anyone who's watching, if you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button now for Harry, and make sure you subscribe. He's doing some fantastic things at the moment. He's getting some brilliant people on his shows, so absolutely give him a subscribe or a like. You can catch me on YouTube, a view from the South Stand. We do all the match reactions for every single Spurs game. So next one coming up is on Sunday after the Newcastle game. My co-host Marlon will be taking charge of the show. Do get over there, give us a like, give us a subscribe, watch our previous shows if you want. Harry's been on a few of them as well. We've got some great guests on there, as always, from the YouTube world. So go and give us a like. It's the same on Instagram as well. View from the South Stand. If you look us up, South Views Coys is our Instagram hashtag, and also on Twitter as well if you use Twitter. So go on there, give us a follow if you like what you see.
Yeah, thank you, Haz. Go check out A View from the South Stand, hosted by the fantastic Haz and the fantastic Marlon, we had on last week. It's a fantastic channel. I'm on there a lot. Just go and subscribe. That's the minimum with the channel. It's a fantastic channel, and as I say, it's only going to go like that. I mean, the more fans that know about it, I mean, you can't ignore it. It's a fantastic channel. And by the way, Liverpool gone 3-1 up. That's a bit.
3-1.
Not the way we want to end the show. Diego Jota, who hasn't scored for a long while.
Yeah.
Jude, thank you for coming on. I know you're not feeling fantastic, so I appreciate it that you could make it. So where can people find you on social media for people who don't know?
I appreciate that, Harry. Thank you. Like I said before, I start plugging my channel. Make sure you guys subscribe to Harry and Haz on YouTube, and then go and follow their Instagram and everything like that. And drop a like on Harry's videos. My YouTube is what it says, Jude Talks Spurs, and my Instagram is Jude_2, and my and my TikTok is Jude_7.
Fantastic. No, thank you for coming on. So go check out both channels. They're both fantastic. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. That's appreciated, and appreciate everyone in the comments. Appreciate all the questions today. The support has been amazing. This weekend. And while I'm here, before I go, I'm going to mention it as well. Next weekend's show, Monday, 8 p.m. As usual, I'm excited because I'm going to be joined by Brian Daigle and Billy, both who always organise the Levy and Ely Out protest. So that's going to be fantastic because I speak to them a lot, and they both agreed at once to come on. So that's going to be fantastic to get their views. As we know, they're the fantastic voice of the fans. So put your questions into them already. Tag me in on Twitter, and your questions will be put forward from me to Brian and to Billy, who are both fantastic. But thank you all for tuning in to today's show. Remember, this was live for people who listen to it on Spotify after. I'll be uploaded tomorrow, but appreciate it. Thank you, Haz. Thank you, Jude. And as we always say on this channel, though, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you
Spurs.